Subtle. Hey, everybody, we back again.
We back.
I'm Spencer, and of course, we have our licensed clinical therapist, Naz.
Hello, y'all. Dr. Nas, Dr. Nazir. Hello, 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 hello. What's
Lots
that
of
from?
hellos there.
Hello, hello,
All
hello.
right. Hello, hello.
I don't know.
This is the Different Spectrums podcast, where we talk about movies, shows, and the mental health aspects that surround them. We also like to have some laughs, so don't take us too seriously.
Or do. That's up to you. But you're not going to have any fun.
Well, there you go. And of course, please go and don't forget to run up our likes for us. We'd really appreciate it.
Please, it helps out a lot of other people. If you like and share, you're legit affirming and validating, helping a lot of other folks get a lot of good information and have a good time.
So today we are taking a look at the Netflix movie, right? Movie called Love at First Sight.
I love you. I love you. Love. Yeah.
Want to lather you up in the showers.
Yeah.
So we're going to be taking a look at a few different topics for today, but one being, how can we let our emotions out?
Let them out.
How can we do it? Let them out. Don't get stuck in the numbers and the stats. Look at the heart, right?
Yeah.
That's what I say to everybody who likes Kirk Cousins. They're like, oh, look at that. He's a stat guy. Look at all those great stats. And I'm just like, look at him on the field. He looks like a fucking idiot. That's what I say. But yet nobody wants to listen.
Nobody wants to listen.
Nope. So we're just gonna go 1 in fucking 10 this year. So let's do it.
You're not a stats guy because there's 17 games, but whatever.
You know what? But we're gonna quit at 10. We're just gonna be like, you know what? We're done with this franchise.
We're done. We're just gonna move. We're done.
Yeah, let's just move in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
Anyways, Nas, anything before we get into the show?
Specifically, we want to talk about love.
What's it got to do with it?
What's it got to do with it? But we're going to talk about love, specifically like this vulnerability thing, and we're going to talk about a little bit of OCD, obsessiveness, and how what that could cause that. What is that? And yeah, I mean, technically we're talking about masculinity, but in general, we're just talking about emotional vulnerability and why it's just hard. So why is it hard to be vulnerable? What's the pros? What's the cons? So it's interesting. For those of you that are icky with emotions, well, let's talk about it. But yeah, should be not necessarily a fun, but we always have a little fun with the tism. We the tism.
Just a little bit.
The tism boys.
We the tism boys.
Can we put that on a shirt?
We definitely can.
Okay. We're gonna get sued. Okay.
For what?
I don't know. All right. Yeah, let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Let's check it out. Whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching our show today. We just wanted to take some time to give a special shout out to our collaborator, Cat and Raven Design. They are a small queer-owned business that specializes in LGBTQ plus pride soaps. They have great designs, some that even look good to eat, but don't. You can get 10% off your entire order if you use the code DSP or go to our link tree. Help support this great small business and help give back to a great community.
What?
It's your dress.
It's horrible.
I like it.
No, you don't.
I do.
No, you don't.
It's pretty. For a bruise. So how was it?
A wedding?
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Come on.
It was annoyingly nice, and Charlotte's totally unhateable, and my dad's genuinely happy, so.
Oh, God, that sounds awful.
It's the worst. I feel pretty shit that I just complained about my dad that entire flight.
Why?
Because he's not dying. Why didn't you tell me?
It's a bit complicated, don't you think? Hey, nice to meet you. By the way, my mum's dying of lung cancer, so I'm flying back to London for her memorial. But, plot twist, she's not actually dead yet. She's just thrown herself a Shakespeare-themed going-away party, which is a completely normal thing to do when you should be getting treatment.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Really? You know, only 9% of lung cancer patients make it past 10 years.
Why do you always do that?
What?
Explain things away with numbers and stuff instead of just saying something honest.
Like...
Like, I don't know, like anything. Something that you really feel. Sorry, I want to. I just feel like this isn't...
You said to be honest.
No,
That's the most honest thing I've done all day.
sorry. I feel like you have a lot going on right now and you're pretending like none of it bothers you.
What would you want me to say? Do you want me to tell you that I'm completely gutted? That I already miss her? That this is the worst day of my life apart from the one I know's coming?
I'm just trying to be there for you. I don't know.
Yeah, well, maybe I don't want to spill my guts out to some girl I just met on a plane.
Oi, Ollie. People are leaving, so if you want to do that speech, now's the time.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You should go. It was stupid of me to come.
I didn't mean that.
No, it's fine. I gotta get back too, so. Tell your family I really enjoyed meeting them.
Come on, Ollie.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Not Romeo?
Yeah.
Approximately 17.6% of people will walk away from the love of their life. Oliver was about to be one of them.
Right, I didn't get a chance to speak during the eulogies, so here we go. 37. That's how many plays William Shakespeare wrote in his life. It's also how many my mum read or performed for me and my brother when we were little. 1900 is how many days she took us to school before I started driving, and twice is how many times she made me strawberry jam roly-polies when a girl broke my heart. The thing is I tried to measure my mum's life in numbers. It's what I do. You know this about me. It's what I do with everything. It helps me make sense of the world, I guess. The thing is that, well, Tessa Jones is not a number. She's not the plays she acted, or the meals she made, or the advice she gave. She's my mum. I'm gonna miss you so much.
Hey everyone, I wanted to give a special shout out to our collaborator, Two Nerds Candle Company. Not only do they have great products, but they are also giving back to a great cause. You can tell that they take a lot of pride in making their candles. My favorite is Spock's Monday Coffee. They are also donating 10% annually to support Women in STEM, which stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. You can use our code DSP or go to our link tree to get 20% off your entire order. We think that this company is great, and we think you will too. So go check them out.
And we back.
We real back. Like we back.
Yeah.
We so far back, we back in the closet.
Never left, really. Never
Yeah.
left.
Never left. We stay in there.
It's cozy in here.
Yeah, I like sitting here. Jesus. Hey, what up, Colin?
Oh my
We getting married or what?
Oh my goodness. Let's just rub oil on each other.
Oh, okay. We'll just stay in the closet. All right.
Anyways, Jesus. All right, so I'm going to read the little description of the show from IMDb. All right, this is peak podcast right here. Let me tell you.
Peak.
All right, so. All right, so this story follows Hadley and Oliver, who begin to fall for each other on their flight from Chicago to London. Obviously, they are not broke.
Yeah.
All right. The probability of ever finding each other again seems impossible, but love and London may have a way of defying the odds. Period. That's the description of the show. It sounds terrible. It sounds horrible.
Oh man.
Two white people find each other and they are in love.
Hey,
who gives a shit?
I mean, white power, right? So joking. I mean, I'm so joking. White privilege. White privilege. It feels good.
White power.
Two police sarcastic people. Hey man. Right? It feels good. Two white people finding love. It feels real good. It's like
Wow,
a
it
classic
feels
story.
like the most classic story you could ever see.
Most classic.
We were on first class and we just found each other. Like,
I'm
oh
telling
my
you. They were on
God.
first class. Yep.
I bet they were.
They were.
I bet they were.
Yeah.
Because they're fucking rich as shit.
Yeah.
That's how it
Man.
goes.
White people doing good.
All the
bro.
privileges in the world.
Doing good. Man, why are we trashing this?
Oh,
This was a good
man.
movie. Stop.
Whatever, motherfucker. Don't lie to me and yourself, okay? So, after that, we'll get into the scenes here.
Describe the scene.
Yeah. You really want me to? I think you should describe
I'll
it
describe it.
because I'm definitely not going to be the one.
You go like, look at this white man trying to talk about his emotion. And fucking
I wish I
tell
would
you
have
all that.
fell into the water. I really do.
I hate love.
White love. I hate white love.
It's overrated.
It's so
It's
boring now. We got it.
We get it. We're missionary. We get it.
Don't look out of my eyes.
Yeah, I don't like eye contact. So small story time. It was small, had nothing to do with that. It's about the film. So someone posted this on a story, a therapist that we follow. So I was like, oh, this looks like super cute. What is this about? And they're like, this is awesome. I said, like, it's legitimately good enough to watch? They're like, yeah, it's so good. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, well, you want to do a podcast on it? Ghost.
No.
I'm like, wait a minute. You followed our account, and then like I reached out to you about something like that, and then he just like, I'm like, so oh my god. Some people, bro. Some people are so funny, man. But I was like, no, I'm gonna watch this because they said it was good. So I checked it out. And I was like, holy shit, this is actually really good. Super cheesy, very good. There's a lot of emotional depth and layers to folks. If you haven't seen it and you like kind of rom coms, this is actually a decent rom com. Not a lot of com, but a lot of rom.
It
It's
was
like a
just a romance.
it's like a rom dramedy, a drum dramedy, a drum.
Don't get stuck in the sauce. Keep going. You got
Oh,
this.
I'm deep in the sauce. I'm like,
Oh, uh-oh.
oh,
Oh no.
I got acid reflux. I don't like this tomato sauce. Anyone got any beans? The
Get
Monday
on.
Monday podcast,
It's,
people. Monday podcast.
get on
Um,
this.
Monday podcast. Okay, so background. Obviously, they meet on the plane. Right, he is going to like Yale, super smart, analytics, data analytics. She is going back to London. He lives in London. Going back to London. Dad's going to a wedding, and they meet. And he asks a bunch of questions, and they could see it in their eyes. There's something there. There's something magical. And he shares his phone charger with her. And as she takes his phone charger, it is so orgasmic. The
Oh
chemistry,
my.
the heat, the moisture.
It was definitely an iPhone 15. He got that shit before it even came out.
I'm telling you, boy. Um, long story short, they're talking on the plane for ages. She says that she's going back for a wedding. He's actually going back for a funeral. And as you see in the scene, he's going back for a funeral that his mom technically isn't passed. It's like a memoriam so people can affirm her and validate her and they can feel good and like throw a party. She's going through her second bout of cancer. She passed the first one and she did the chemo and it was awesome. It was effective. And that's when he was so traumatized that he became very analytical and tried to control and manipulate things to where he could feel literally in control and that he could be predictable in like terrifying events moving forward. Thus develops his hyperfixation and I would say obsessive compulsive disorder. Um, so he's very emotionally avoidant and he kind of maneuvers and pivots things through numbers and he talks about things with numbers, data, analytics, statistics, facts, logic. Very neurospicy, very neurospicy. But for him, let's say it's uh, more just trauma based, but still feels very neurospicy. Um, we meet them at the memoriam for his mother. She had just left her father's wedding, and they begin to talk. And she's like, how are you doing? And I feel bad because I was shitting on my dad the entire time on the plane, and turns out your mom's dying, and I feel really fucking stupid because you just listen to me like cry about nothing. I'm like, yeah, well, that's most of you white girls. So, uh,
There goes
uh,
most of our fan base.
yeah, most of my family. Like, I'm sorry your Starbucks order didn't get filled. I'm sorry.
I want my pumpkin spice.
My latte. I'm sorry. It's just easy to pick on y'all. You suck.
Keep going. Jeez.
um, completely joking.
There.
Yeah. And so she's definitely very emotional, very connected, very authentic in the way she carries herself, and very compassionate. She finds out it is a funeral and she decides, right, to go to the funeral before we get to the scene. And she's like, I feel like I need to be there for him. And the dad's like, you don't even fucking know this guy. You don't know him anything. She goes and they have this dialogue and she, how are you doing? He's like, what do you want me to tell you? That my mom's fucking dying and we're here at this funeral and you want me to tell you that I'm crushed? And that I don't want her to die and that I want her to do chemotherapy, but she's going to not do it because she doesn't want to go through it, which I understand, but she's allowing herself to die without even trying because the chemotherapy could be effective, but she's choosing to give up and die. He's very angry. It reminds me of the Rocky scene that me and Spencer did with Culture Change. If you want to go back and check that out, it's really good.
Yeah. What's that? You mean Creed?
Creed. Oh, sorry. We did Creed Culture Change.
I was about to do that. It stinks in here. It stinks.
It stinks. Yeah, no, sorry. It was Creed. And so he blows up and she's like, whew. And before that, she's like, I want you to be honest with your feelings. I need you to do it for me. I need you to be real with me, Oliver. And then he tries to kiss her. And it's like
a big mistake there.
like All right, she's asking you to be emotional and real when your mom's like obviously dying in the background. And you're like, I'm gonna put my
Yeah.
lips on you, girl.
Like in his mind, he was like, "There's like a there's like a 70% chance that this doesn't work, but still a 30%
There's
chance
still a
that it could."
30%
So,
chance that she's gonna be eroticized by death. Jesus. Hey,
mom died.
I think there was that one thing on Wedding Crashers where one was like, "You ever go to funerals and pick up
Oh
women?"
yeah,
I'm like,
Will Ferrell.
"Jeez,
Yeah,
yeah,
Will
Will Ferrell,
Ferrell does that.
horrible."
He's
Um,
great.
yeah, great.
Great.
White folk the worst. um, so obviously he messes up. She's like, "I need you to be real in this moment. What is going on, legitimately?" And then he blows up, and then they go on different ways. She's like, yeah, I'm sorry, this was a mistake." They walk away. So that was a longer explanation, but I wanted y'all to have some of the details.
Mm.
So, Spencer, I need
Ian.
I need you I need you to dig down deep inside your soul. And I need you to I need you to pull out the some good questions.
I like to leave it in. Let me tell you.
So I need you to what you
This
got
is a
for me?
podcast about mental health.
What you got for me,
I
Poppy?
have to remind myself
Hey,
that
Poppy.
sometimes.
What's the questions, boss?
All right. So why don't people want to open up?
Because they little punk.
All right. And that's the show. Second time we did this joke, but you know what? We're out of here.
Still works.
It still works.
Monday podcast, not the best
Yeah.
advice. Those of you that keep watching these Monday podcasts, hopefully you ain't watching this shit and taking it serious.
This is gonna come out so bad.
So bad. The edits for this, I don't edit shit. This is all real.
Yeah.
It's all raw.
Yeah, we don't cut nothing.
Yeah. Okay, so real talk.
Yes.
Opening up to the way you said yes.
Yes, yes.
It was so pervy. But yeah, like I said, sorry. Real talk that it is extremely hard for people to open up. It could be for multiple different reasons. It could be familial. It's not really done in the family, so it could be more like a cultural thing. It could be a society thing. For like men, it's really not a thing that we do is open up. Also, it could be an ethnic thing. So again, culture, but more ethnicities. So BIPOC populations will not necessarily have these emotional talks, these emotional depths. You can suck it up. You're fine. We're strong people. We don't really need emotions. I remember talking to one of my mentors, also a therapist, saying, "Nas, we ain't got time to be depressed." She was like, "That's for white folk. Well, you got shit to do." Man, you supposed to be telling me this? Man, I'm
Is
crying
this
now and
against the
shit.
law? I don't
Yeah.
know.
I'm like, well, shit, I ain't your therapist. I'm like, well, obviously, I ain't paying for this shit. But in all seriousness, we have a lot of things to do. A lot of folks that are impoverished as well. I mean, yeah, you can cry, but what does that get you?
Mm.
So I'll get a lot of folks that are neurodivergent or that have been traumatized by a parent that says, fuck you crying for. Like, I'll give you something to cry about. And so a lot of my kids that struggle at emotional depth or just crying in general or sadness or anger end up being those that can't express it in the household. Because any bit of emotional expression will be penalized physically, verbally, physically or verbally or emotionally. Like you will be penalized. You'll be yelled at. You may get slapped. You may get beaten. You may be manipulated in thinking that you are weak and like boys don't cry, women don't cry, we of color don't cry. It could be a thing. So that's one thing. It could be the training from many different things that stop you from being vulnerable and expressing things. And thus it stunts you throughout life. And as me and Spence know, a lot of men really don't like talk a lot about emotions unless we're like truly just sitting by ourselves, like no one's around. Then we might talk about some shit like how's things
Yep.
going with you and your partner, school going, you're struggling and shit. Like, I heard things with mom's tough, like she's sick, dad's sick. Like, there's those talks, but that's like more intimate, one on one. And
Mhm.
rarely are we in those one on one type of things with our boys, especially when we're adults. Doesn't really happen. So we end up being stunted. And that's all genders, but men a little bit more. And so I get a lot of clients that come to my office that are partnering with men. So it doesn't really matter if it's a heteronormative relationship or not. Um, but they'll be like, my partner does not talk. And I'm like, well, it's because they don't want to. And they're like, they don't even have the words. They have emotional identification issues. So, like we just interviewed Sonny Spencer,
Mhm.
Sonny, I forgot their middle name, but it's Sonny Wise. I feel like that's their full.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Yep.
lived
Yep.
experiences educator on Instagram, wonderful individual. And they talked about having alexithymia and like really hard to have good introspection of what's going on and why within their mind body. So that could be a thing for a lot of us neurodivergent folks. Just really hard to feel. We feel something a rumbling, something's
Yeah.
intense, but we don't really know why it's there. We just know that
Mhm.
I'm feeling something big,
Yeah.
and that could just lead a lot of folks to decompensate. And so slowly, you need to like process through those things. It's a thing that we'll get into next. So that could be it. There could be some neurodivergence going on, alexithymia going on. There could be some training. And then there could be some other things going on.
Mhm.
It could be habitual rejection. Uh, so rejection avoidance, rejection fear.
Mhm.
And that's tough. You open up to someone and they reject you, Spence. It's real tough. Real tough. Uh, but good question. Those are some of the main staples of why people have a hard time opening up.
Yeah.
And I know there's probably one that you might want to talk about too. Uh, what else you got on your
Yeah.
list, boss?
Well, you know, talked a little bit about being scared about what could happen, right? And I think that it's a big thing, especially today, where there's like these couple of videos where they're interviewing people on the street and stuff like that, and um, one of the question was like, "What's your biggest ick for a guy?" Which is like, "What's your biggest turn off or whatever?" Right? And one of the people answered, um, someone who's happy, a guy who's being happy, which, to be honest, that's pretty terrible for
Pretty
a
toxic.
person to say. Very toxic. And, obviously a lot of people in like the comments, stuff like that disagree. But um, for me, especially, I think once you see guys who, already don't have that confidence for talking with somebody or even starting a conversation, because, you know, a lot of the times when we want to start conversations with women, say, um, it's automatically rejected because we could be a threat to them, which
Correct.
is honest opinion. uh but at the same time, it's like, how do you meet people if you don't open up that dialogue first? But my point is that um we're so kind of stuck in this place where it's like, as men, we're afraid to face that rejection. And especially if somebody tells me, yeah, you're a little bit too happy, I'm immediately gonna be like, well,
It's
well,
weird.
let me tell you something.
Weird.
You're about to get cussed out.
Jeez.
But yeah, I mean, what kind of things do you see with people who are kind of too scared to kind of open up to people? Or what have you seen with maybe some clients that, or maybe even with yourself? Are you afraid to open up a little bit now? A little
Oh,
bit like,
so
hi,
I'm gonna try and wrap all these up real quick.
yeah,
Um,
do it.
to get to that first comment of that individual, I see these videos all the time of like all genders where they're just saying like stuff, and a lot of it is very toxic when they're going up to people in the street, especially if it's like certain geographic things. Like I see a lot of like people interviewing people like out of clubs and stuff like that, like in Miami and New York, and
Right.
it's pretty toxic. It's a lot of very materialistic stuff. That individual said that I'd be scared of like the ick of someone that's happy. I would love to know the context of what that means.
Yeah.
But specifically to me, an individual that would say, I don't want a partner that is happy, that must be because they are like internally sad
Hmm.
or insecure. So if that person is happy, then they'll be able to set like better boundaries and know certain things or do certain things, and thus they'll be able to push away some of that toxicity. Because I would assume that maybe they would like someone a little bit more needy or clingy. But then again, most individuals don't like that. So they would probably push them away as well. So a person
Hmm.
that said that comment, Spencer, I would assume is a highly toxic individual or just an individual with a decent amount of trauma.
Hmm.
Or they're allowing society to kind of pollute their mind.
Hmm.
Who knows? Maybe that's a wonderful individual, but a wonderful individual does not say, I hope my partner's not happy or they're not too happy. That sounds actually quite
Hmm.
terrible.
Yeah.
But maybe they could be like, I doubt this, but I can see someone saying that it's kind of depressed.
Hmm.
Like, I don't want them to be too high because I'm way low. And so if they're super, super high, that makes me feel even lower.
Hmm.
So it depends. I know that's not what they meant. I'm sure it was very materialistic, but I'm just saying that I can see someone saying that, and there's reasons why you wouldn't want
Right.
someone as happy or as ADHD or as extroverted and you're super introverted. I can get some of those things.
Hmm. Right.
So believe me, when people say certain things like these on these videos that y'all see on Instagram and Reels and in the interviews, a lot of this shit is really toxic. Do your best not to generalize it to all individuals, but also know that there's some crazy ass people out there, man.
True.
And be very careful with your heart. So now we're talking about vulnerability, and I'm telling you to open up with your damn heart. Interesting.
Mm.
Can you imagine opening your heart to the individual that said that and be like,
Mm.
oh, like, let me show you my happiness and my joy. And then you kind of maybe like shit on it or manipulate it or like gaslight them into like, you're crazy because you're happy and the world's like fucked up or I hate you. It's scary because if you open up your heart, you could get crushed.
Yeah.
And you don't know what you're opening up your heart to, Spence. So it's like, holy shit, you just met this person.
Yeah.
And with a lot of us neurodivergent folks, we might over talk in the first few meetings, and we might like go too far, and we don't know that we're going too far.
Right.
Yeah, well, overshare is the word. Overshare.
Yeah.
But the reason why I see most people that are super scared to open up or the fear of opening up is like I coach a lot of people and we do therapy. We build up people's identities, core strength of who they are, right? And then we get into these like pretty good relationships. I'm like, uh-oh, he looked like a good man. Oh shit. We got us a marlin. We got us a good one now. Here we go. Over yonder. And then we got in the deep end and the snaggletooth fish. I don't know.
We really on our southern stuff today, aren't
I
we?
know. We got us a marlin now. Yeehaw. And I'll be like, this sounds like a legitimately good dude. He's hitting like all these
Mhm.
check boxes. You feel comfortable, feels loving and supporting. And I would tell my client, like, do you like this individual? Yes. And so we slowly talk about what is love? What is love? And they're like, well, I'm not going to say that. I said, I didn't ask you to say that, but it sounds like you do like them. So are we going to like kind of ask, are we exclusive? Or is this going somewhere long term? Like, what are we doing? So whenever I have my clients ask that, what are we doing thing?
Mhm.
Oh, you'd be surprised at how many people run. It doesn't matter what gender.
Mhm.
But they run, and I'm like, fuck. I'm just really not into like. I just don't want to date. I just want to have fun. Um, I used a more
Water.
feminine voice there, but it's like everyone wants to just have fun. I'm like, what does that actually mean? Um, and I have so many.
Sex, probably.
It's just sex, yes, but I'm like,
But it's also not commitment, right? It's just something that's not commitment yet, and you won't get your heart broken.
I know, but I'm like, so how is it that my clients feel like they're being loved by the other person? But actually,
Mhm.
the other person is just mostly interested in being like sexual relations, but they love the other individual's companionship, but they don't want to
Mhm.
like commit to that companionship.
Yeah. Because I feel, well, obviously, I mean, you might have been hurt before by somebody else, something like that.
True. The other person that doesn't want to commit, maybe, yep.
Yeah. Or, it's maybe for them, they check most of the boxes, um, but maybe they don't check them all, and
Enough.
maybe they're waiting to see if there's somebody who does check them all. Um,
That brings
yeah,
up a good point because I work with some clients in like Cali, New York, man, Chicago, like big metropolitan places.
yeah,
And they'll be like, Nas, there's just too many people. Like,
yeah,
no one actually wants to commit because there's so many people in that area. And like, if you find
hmm,
one small thing,
yeah,
like Jesus, like you met a really good individual.
yeah.
The normal thing that I go through is I end up working with individuals that partner with someone, and they both seem to be quite lovely and infatuated with each other.
Mhm.
The one will ask, "What are we doing?" And the other one's like, "I don't know."
Mhm.
Like the other one just can't do the maturity to grow. They love the relationship and all that, but they're not there yet. They haven't grown up yet. And I'm talking like even like 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds.
Yeah.
And some of the women I work with, it's like, "Come on, dude, just fucking get with it."
Mhm.
And a lot of the dudes, like, "Yeah, man, I just got a lot of trauma and shit like that. Like, I just don't know if I can love anyone." I'm like, "Motherfucker,
Mhm.
you bringing her shit while she's sick. Like, that's love."
Mhm.
Like, there's some love there. I don't know if you're in love, but there's some love there. And you keep texting my client and all that shit. I'm like, "Motherfucker, back up." Like, you in or you out, dog? You in or you out? And this is what it is, man. I guess I bring this up because I want to talk about love today.
Mhm.
But I feel like all my clients, because they're all anxious, good people, man, and they all get kind of destroyed because we'd be like, "Nah, as we opened up, and then my heart got trampled on." Like, hey, man, I'd rather you open up about some shit and that shit get trampled on now instead of his ass or her ass, their ass, wasting 3 years of your fucking time. Like, we might as well know now that they're a jackass.
Mhm.
So, I guess to figure out if we really enjoy someone, a lot of my clients are uncomfortable with love.
Mhm.
Before we go into like the next set of questions of how to work with him and like his love issues and all that, what's going on.
Mhm.
I guess I kind of want to talk about with me and you, Spence, and then challenge everyone else to like pay attention here.
Mhm.
And I want you all to like legit write some stuff down. This is a homework assignment I do with many of my clients, right? Remember, this is not therapy. It's just talking on the pod. You ain't suing our asses. We ain't got nothing to give you no way. So,
Mhm.
fuck you. Um,
You're listening to his pod. Fuck you.
it's like Pat McAfee. If you're listening to this pod, you're a fucking idiot because this is terrible.
It's,
Um, so, but for real though, like Spence, you can do like think about it in your head for a second, and everyone
mm,
else. But how do you know you're in love with someone?
mm.
And what the fuck does that even mean? How do you know you're in love with someone?
What do you know?
And I'll go through just a couple of different things. I'm just going to list them off. I'm not going to. I'm going to deep dive into what I think love is, but in a second. But how do you know what love is? Is it sex? Is it infatuation? Is it you being obsessed with them? Is it the way they make you feel, think, experience? Is it the way you feel, or is it the way you make them feel? Is it communication? Is it quality time? Is love like you thinking about how to make them smile? What is love? Is it, in my case, being protective?
Mm,
I know I love someone, not necessarily in love, but I know I got love for you when I'm protective. Because now I care about your joy. And if I care about your joy, I want to make sure you maintain it. So I don't physically become protective, but mentally I become protective to make sure that you feel joy. So there's some random things. And I challenge everyone. And this is really hard for a lot of folks, especially a lot of my clients that aren't connected with their emotions, alexithymia, any trauma issues, shitty taste in humans for dating. What
yeah.
makes you feel good? Like some of y'all be like, I've never been connected to anyone. And I'd like to challenge that because like you love a lot of things about a lot of people. A lot of people. A lot of
Mm,
people.
no.
Um, Spence, and I don't want to get you to step in any shit. So like obviously be cautious. Like how do you know you love your partner? But think about it, and you don't have to be super articulate, just kind of spit shit out. But also, how do you know you love friends? How do you know you love moms?
Right. I mean, it's. I think as you get older, it's like, especially when you have partners, it's a little bit of everything. Because
Yep.
when you're younger, it's like you just check certain boxes, right?
Yeah.
So you're not trying to fill the board, or at least you. I don't think you should yet, because uh, I think that when you're younger, I think it's fine to, see exactly who you like, travel and things like that to really understand, like there are different people in this world that you might like.
I
Um,
agree.
but for me, it's a little bit of everything. Making sure that my sense of humor comes off well with them, make them laugh. Um, but then I'm also that when I want to have downtime with them, that we can do that um, by ourselves, right? I've talked about it multiple times, but
Yeah,
having that, um, you know, being able to set our phones down when we're with each other, and then just being able to communicate with one another instead of being distracted by like our phones and stuff. That goes a long way because then you can actually uh, get a connection with them instead of just being distracted all the time and acting like you have a connection with them. Um, and then I would also have to say, just being able to communicate well. If I can't be blunt and honest with you, then how am I supposed to stay in a long term relationship with
correct.
you? Right. So it's a lot of different things. But and I would also have to say, when it comes to out of that, like friendships, and my mom and stuff like that, it's definitely more of trying to, um, I don't need to. Sometimes there's a difference, especially with partners, that you feel like you need to do stuff to make them love you, which sometimes is true.
Oh yeah,
Sometimes, like you got to do certain things to make sure,
it's obligations.
that yeah, it's tit for tat kind of thing in a way,
Yep,
making sure that you're making each other happy.
everything's kind of equal
But
to tit for tat, making sure that one's not over investing. Right, you want equality within the
yeah,
love.
yeah, exactly. And so, but when it comes to like friends and family and stuff like that, you don't really have to do that because you don't have to do that. It's more about making sure that you're there more than anything, that you're there and that you are committed to those people. That's what I think. Because I usually treat my friends like my family,
Yep,
you know,
I agree.
and don't get me wrong, when it comes to communication, sometimes I'm not the best at it.
Yep.
But they still know that if they need anything, that I'm there for them. Um, but yeah.
Do you mind if I therapize some of the things that you said and articulate it in more of a feelings way? Okay, brace yourself, folks. Feelings. So Dom, when you listen to this, I assume you'll be able to seek some validation from it. So you said that you enjoy quality time, you enjoy
Yeah.
the mindfulness of an individual and like the being able to focus on each other, which means
Hmm.
that you enjoy, like you said, quality time communication. You enjoy knowing that they are listening to you and they are connected. You enjoy connectedness.
Hmm.
You enjoy the mutual respect for each other's time and moments when we're talking to each other. You
Hmm.
enjoy the emotional, and I've seen it, the physical intimacy without being sexualized, the
Hmm.
intimacy of both emotion and physicalness without being
Yeah.
hypersexual,
Hmm.
which is very romantic for a lot of my clients, right? It's very romantic, very comforting and soothing knowing that you can be close without meaning it going somewhere. Because a lot of clients get terrified. Well, if they
Hmm.
hug me, if he hugs me or we cuddle, then it's going to lead to sex. Well, it doesn't always have to. And I have to teach a
Hmm.
lot of my young folk to what is physical intimacy and what is sexual intimacy, two different things.
Right.
Um, you know that you love when she gives you that time, that patience,
Hmm.
that love, meaning that she sees you, you see her. You love that she does things for you. She may buy you little gifts, trinkets, jokes. You
Hmm.
love the compatibility of feeling seen when it comes to jokes, and you love the reciprocity in it.
Hmm.
But the only way that you would ever get to reciprocity is because you both have trust in each other to say jokes and to go one, 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 one. There's
Yeah.
also in this, I always forget I need to look at the camera. There's always knowing that in this, to be joking and funny,
Hmm.
that there needs to be this like firm understanding, like in good faith, I may make some jokes, but there will be no personal attack against you. because I love you, I got your back, I would probably die for you in these moments, in these days, in these years. So good faith.
Mhm.
So that means trust. How do you know that you
Mhm.
love someone? Most likely you trust them.
Mm.
You trust them with your heart, your mind, your body, your emotions. You trust them with the time. You see them as something worth pouring into. So this is Spencer, which is a lot of vulnerable stuff. How do I know? He didn't say this, but this is who he is. How do I know that he loves his friends? And they're not pointing at me. He
Mhm.
shows up for them. He shows up for them uh, mentally if they need it, if they need consultation verbally, if they need memes or reels, he shows up. When it's their gift, when it's their birthday, Christmas, presents, right? That's there. He
Mhm.
shows you that he is thinking about you even when you probably are not thinking about him.
Mm.
That is what I would quantify as love, agape or platonic love, is because that person is hundreds of miles away and they may think about you, which means that you mean something to them. That is love.
Mm.
That is love. That I feel like a lot of people don't actually have because they don't have friends that may do those things that they feel comfortable
Mhm.
with or around or that may show up.
Mhm.
And I know a lot of people be like, that's not love, right? Love is like sex. I'm like, nah, homie, that's sex. That's that's when the dingles touch.
That's
Sorry.
But
Well,
I will say though is
go ahead.
that that does play a little bit
Oh,
of a
it's a huge
role, you know.
role. I'm just trying to separate the
Yeah,
two.
yeah, and and I think intimacy obviously, plays a role. And I've told, I tell that to anybody who I'm with. I'm like, it does play a role with me.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna lie and be like, oh, I
Oh
don't
no, you got to
need
be
this,
compatible. Yeah, I'm just trying to
you know.
separate the two, but you got to be compatible.
Right. Right, and and I'm just trying to make sure that people know that
Correct.
although yes, it's not 100% what it is, right? It does play a role
Oh, 100%.
into your relationships,
Yeah,
because
even
yeah,
with your
and
friends.
I think having that honesty about it helps too, though.
Yep.
I think having honesty because some people are like, oh, I don't need sex and things like that. It's not a huge part of me, blah 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 blah,
I'm not a
and it's just
sinner.
I'm not a, I would never.
I would never. It's like,
May I touch your breast?
I would never. You got a handful of giblets right now.
I would never do that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like, boy,
Like,
you got a
you
whole
getting off
hand.
on the lie? Jesus.
Yeah. Hey, um, hey, but I'll finish this real quick. And then
Yeah.
moms, there's a lot of protection and love
Oh, yeah.
because of what she's done for you, right? So there's some things that there's like a debt and there's some love for that and the things that they poured into you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different reasons on how you know you love someone.
Mhm.
I remember having a human like, well, I don't know if I love them. I said, you got some love for them. Why you say that? Because I know every time you talk about them, you smile.
Mm.
I know you do these little stupid things and you make drawings for them. I know that you make them coffee every morning. I know that when they come home, you ask them about how their day is, and then you sit there and actually listen. That's love. I know a lot of that's some of the versions of love. So I want you to think about what does it mean to you? How do you know that you actually like someone? How is it that they make you feel? What is it that you think about them? These are deep questions. Why do I ask this?
Mhm.
Because I've been working with clients, man, and they be like, I'm gonna make a joke. But I've been working with clients and they be like, they ain't putting it on me like they used to. And not in on. They ain't laying it on me. They ain't piping it up. They ain't plumbing no more. Uh, fuck is it Mario Brothers in here? Yep, both of
Yeah.
them. um, and so in actuality, this is a big deal though. Sometimes folks will assume that if the sex slows down, sexual intimacy slows down, then the other person's not interested.
Mhm.
Sometimes the other person is having anxiety about something. They're occupied. Yeah, a lot of good
Mm.
times in couples therapy. The other person's probably battling depression. Not gonna lie, other person's battling depression.
Mm.
Um, I never get couples therapy where the other person like cheated on the other person. Like y'all usually
Mm.
break up before you ever get. There's no point for couples therapy. I
Right.
guess there is, but like that shit don't work out. Um, usually comes to me is that the other person's like battling a lot of stuff, or the other person is having a hard time opening up and talking. And I'll get like couples therapy on just communication stuff, or we'll get it on um
Hey, are you a nerd? Do you like pins? If you're like any of our followers and you said yes, you should check out our collaboration with Pinfinity. They have Power Rangers pins, Transformers pins, and for all of our bronies out there, My Little Pony pins. Go check out our link tree or use our code DSP to get 20% off your Pinfinity order today. Hey, this is your co host Spencer, and I'm bringing you a special message from our collaborator, Silver Dollar Candles. They have great scents to go with great messages, just like Best Dad Ever, True Crime and Chill, and my personal favorite, When This Candle Is Lit, Give Me That. You can also make your own candle and message that fits you. So go use our link in our link tree to get your order placed with Silver Dollar Candles today.
kind of like both of them don't really know where to go, and one of them's going to move or do this and that, and so it's like an existential issue, like what are we doing, where are we going? And so there's a lot of anxiety around that. But I bring up the sexual stuff because I have clients who'd be like, we smashing all the time. I'm like, yeah, man, that's how I know I love someone. I mean, I'm like, that's how you know you like the sex.
Yeah.
Yep. The love is all the stuff a little bit after. And they're like, oh. And I said, it could be one and the same, but also let's separate the two
Yeah.
to see if you like all this other stuff. And so that becomes a very interesting topic for a lot of folks. But it reminds me of the meme, specifically of like folks of color, Spence, when they be like, I see it all the time with like Latinas. Like they'll be cooking or something in the kitchen, and like the husband walks by, and she'll be like, "Who you cheating with?" And he's like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "You ain't smack my ass like you always smack. Why? Who you seeing someone else, motherfucker? Like, what are you doing?" It's the
You
funniest.
smacking someone else's ass, aren't
Yeah,
you?
yeah, because she like sticks it out there, knowing it's coming. And the funny thing is that they'll show the real, and it's an over dramatization, right? This is all sarcasm. The real, obviously, right? Because it's like the internet. But like he always smacks her tush, or she always smacks his tush, whatever. He always smacks his tush, and then that one time they don't. Well, it's 2023, man, right? We
I
ain't
thought you meant
heteronormative.
smacking his own ass. I was
Yeah,
like,
well, no,
what?
I'm talking about this is a different couple now. It's two dudes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was like, what?
we ain't heteronormative on this motherfucker today.
He looking in the mirror like, why haven't you slapped my
I know,
ass
and then
again?
she's like, "Why didn't you slap my ass?" Or he didn't. Yeah, and so it can get confusing. Like, what's wrong? Do you not love me anymore? It's like I gotta take a shit. I ain't thinking about smacking your ass. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic again.
Sure.
But I have a lot of people always talking about how when the sexual intimacy goes down, maybe they're falling out of love, which could be true. But I also like people to quantify what they think love is, and are those things still there? And is the relationship still worth it? Is this still your person that you feel comfortable with? Do you still enjoy all these things? The intimacy issues we can work on because there's probably something getting in the way. And we probably need to work on that quicker, sooner rather than later, because then it could lead to people feeling neglected. And maybe they might want to step out, stuff like that. Communication, Spencer said, is the biggest key. Is the biggest key. Communication. This young man in this story is scared. He is scared to open up, which leads to the second scene where he's talking about his mom and why he loves her. And he starts saying numbers. You know what? I'm just going to talk about my mom and how much I love her and what she did for me and how scary it is that I'm going to lose her. So we've already talked about love. This scene makes me think is about the scary inevitability, like Thanos. I'm inevitable. Of Pops and the deterioration of his muscles. So this was a tough scene for me to watch. When he does the eulogy, I was like, Jesus, man. To watch someone deteriorate is not fun. I was talking to the homeboy the other day, Spence. I put this out of my mind because it was gross. And then Pops plays it down. But we were at Walmart like last year, and then we were just waiting in line for like medication, and then he just started shaking. And I watched him, and he didn't stop. And I was like, "What is going on?" He's like, "Pop, what are you doing?" "What?"
Mm.
It's like, what was that? I didn't know if that was Parkinson's. I didn't know what that was. And some neurological thing. I've never seen him do it again.
Mhm.
That was probably the most terrified I've been, other than him falling a few times. The falls are scary because you're like worried about concussions and CTE, dementia, and all that long term. But like the shake thing was scary. And so you see someone's body go away. Why am I talking about this? Because we all know the inevitability of our family members dying, our friends leaving, right? Relationships. We all fear those things. Do you stop loving? Do you shut it down like Oliver? And you're just like, nope, I'm never going to really feel that pain ever again because I don't want to be hurt. So he shoves away the girl, puts the emotions away, tries to kiss her, tries to control his numbers, right? He always pivots away from emotions.
Mhm.
You can do that. I'm completely fine with it. But make sure if you're getting in love with a partner, right, getting into something that they know that you have issues with handing over some of the emotional goods. No, because they're scared of being hurt. I know what's coming. We all know what's coming, right? You don't want to think about it, but we will lose. Well, this is horrible. We will lose everyone we love. It's just what happens in life. Life is
Mm.
not the funnest. So these emotions, these things, how do you know you love people and do you keep moving forward? It's like the podcast we did on what is it called? It's the blue guy. That was like the superhero
Avatar.
that we, no, it was the blue guy for DC. The TV series you had me watch based on Tulsa.
Watchmen?
Watchmen. So he said, hey, we're going to have a wonderful 10 years together. We're going to have beautiful children,
Mhm.
but it will be a tragic loss at the end. He says, do you want to
Mhm.
do it? She said, 10 years? He said, yep, 10 years, but it will end no matter what. And she's thinking, I can
Mhm.
change and alter this. She said, fuck it, let's do it. 10 years, let's live. And they have a
Mhm.
wonderful life. And then it's like the worst tragic ending of all times. And you have to think to yourself, was it worth it? Whenever I push client Spencer to open up, I try to get them to be real and authentic because them hiding and bullshit in this relationship and playing these anxious mind games of who loves who and us not being exclusive and all that, you hate it anyways. So why don't we
Mhm.
try to like push for like some realness? Doesn't matter what gender, and you know if that's your person or not, and then you can build something real and good. And if it ends and when it does end, and you're miserable because that's how much it meant to you. You only grieve things you love. Grief is love. So I enjoyed this show because it was really good. Not necessarily about his love for her, but his love for his mother and how he
Mhm.
can't even talk to her about the cancer. It was a wonderful show about grief and some of these emotional issues and him becoming so controlling and shut off. And he kind of
Mhm.
like hates his brother because his brother's happy go lucky. There's a lot of very small, fine details of the mental health impacts. And so I pushed you, Spence, and I therapized some of the things.
Mhm.
Love is interesting. And I think, like me and Spence always talk about, it's the small things. Love's the small things. Small things. When my boy comes over and I offer him food and a drink, and then we shoot Nerf balls at each other and hit each other in the balls with Nerf ball. That's love.
It's real love right there.
Shot him once right in the taint. Close
That's
was
good.
on. Close was on. Uh,
Lucky. Lucky guy.
I mean, that's love. We go get some food. We sit down, watch and scroll sports. I mean, it's a lot of love in those moments. Plus, there was the emotional stuff. There was the stuff that we talked about. There was the hugs. There was a lot of stuff.
Right.
It's the jokes, the comfortability. Love for me is a lot of things. But I know I love you when I feel like I want to do something to make sure that you feel joy, or I want to make you help you achieve, and I'll write letters of recommendation. To me, that's love. I coach you to be a better person and set better boundaries in your relationships. I coach you to and therapize you to make sure you don't hurt yourself, kill yourself, right? That's love. Some students, I'm be honest, some students easy to love.
Mm.
I don't remember what movie it was. I feel like it was. I feel like it was. I can't remember her name. She plays the evil person in the DC films. Black woman. She's also plays like the best like black mom ever.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Viola
know who you're
Davis.
talking.
There's
Viola
one
Davis.
movie where she goes, "John, you're just so easy to love." I'm pretty sure it was her. You're just so easy to love.
Yeah.
We also seen it in that Mike Tyson show where he goes, "You're just so easy to love, kid." When you say that to a human, and I know like some of them are just awesome. Some of them are assholes.
Hmm.
Hey, everyone loves an asshole. We all got them, and they stink.
What?
I don't know how that tied into the show.
Neither do I.
I don't know, but I said it. So obviously, I got a little emotional there for a minute, but I'm regulated now.
Mhm.
Spence, hopefully you didn't mind me like therapizing some of the stuff because I put you out there.
I don't care.
You little punk.
I don't care. I don't give a shit.
But that's how we do it. That's how we
Yeah.
do it. That's how we figure out what the fuck we like and we don't like. And then you find these people you feel comfortable with. And then fuck man, shoot or shoot. Hockey term. Baseball term. No, not baseball. Basketball.
Basketball, you jackass.
Well, and they say it a lot in hockey too. Shoot or shoot.
I know, but not baseball.
Baseball.
Shoot. Hey man, shoot your shot.
Shoot your thing.
Actually, like, don't do that. Actually, don't.
Yeah. No. Take just bunt, motherfucker. Just bunt. You ain't gotta swing at everything. It's like me on Tinder, swinging at everything.
Right.
Right. Bobby, where are you getting here?
You're just like, Bobby.
Bobby.
Right.
Yeah. Super like.
Oh my God. I only get one of those, so you're lucky.
I only get one of those. It was just for you, Bobby. They call that. Oh, I'm not even gonna say his nickname. All right. Spence, do you got any lemon pepper to put on this potato?
On the potato.
I did not mean that as a gay like
You just
innuendo.
did two food references at once.
Yeah, well, you can put some lemon pepper on a potato now.
That sounds terrible. That sounds horrible.
You want to put any sour cream on these beans? That's love. That's love, folks.
Wow.
That's love.
Oh my God. I guess just don't rush into anything.
Correct.
Any relationship that you're in, whether it's
Correct.
friendship or, having a partner. Don't rush into it. Never works out that way. Take your time. And if they're in a rush for something, then maybe that's a sign that, maybe they're needing something at that moment that, you can't give. So, and that's okay.
And
There
have
are
a
lots of
conversation about
people.
it. It's okay. Have a conversation about it. If it's not your thing, that's fine.
And it's important to have those conversations, especially if, it's having those moments and conversations about exactly what you like. And sometimes we like to hide the stuff that we like because we feel like then it ruins something with this person that may or not be attractive in several different ways, right?
Yep.
But I think that I think at the same time we should always try to make sure that we're happy ourselves and then tend to whoever else it is. So yeah.
I also highly advise folks shop around.
Yeah. And it's not like, just like have sex with a person, but at the same time, talk to multiple people, see who's
What
who,
you
and,
like?
let
What do
them.
you like? What do you don't like? Right? I like it when he licked my ear like that. No, like, do you like funny people, weird people, odd people? You like big folk, small folk? You like redheads? You like brunettes? You like motherfucker with a job? Hopefully, you like motherfucker with a job. Don't bring no motherfucker
I
home when
love
he
a
ain't got no
homeless
job.
man.
Yeah, hey, they're a pipe now. Not being serious. Like, it's super fine to date, and I get there's a lot of bad things about different genders dating around. But if you want to find a partner that you got vibes with and connections with, sometimes you have to shop around a little bit. What do they say? Sometimes you gotta kiss a few princes before you find that. No, You gotta
Frogs.
kiss a few frogs before you find your prince. I kiss some princes too now. My dad's gonna be like, I'm done with this shit.
And on that lovely note, that whimsical note.
You date thing one, date thing two. All right, we're done.
All right. With that, thank you everybody for joining us today. Go check out our collaborators. You get up to 20% off your whole entire order if you use our code DSP or DSP20 or by going through our link. Also, don't forget to check out our great merch. You're different, but not less.
Not less. You're
There
not.
you go.
You're not let. God love all his children. I'm completely joking. We're not super religious. I'm sorry.
And we have a few new cool things that are coming out, so check them out. If you are a sports fan, you might like it. Or if you just live in Minnesota or Michigan, you might recognize some of these colors.
Hey,
You might,
if you
maybe.
like purple or blue, you might like it too.
There you go. See,
Yeah,
look at
I love
that.
purple. I legitimately love the color purple. There's no joke.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I was waiting for it.
Nope,
There
no
was
joke.
the tone there. I was like, wait a minute.
No,
What?
I legitimately love purple. Favorite color.
Okay. Well, there you go. See if I can do it. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I'm Spencer. That's Nas. This is the Different Spectrums podcast.
All right, everyone. As you know, much love and take care of yourselves.
Or don't.
It's completely up to you, folks. Yeah.
So, go check out the video over here.
Right there. Go ahead, check it out. Click on it. It's curated just for you.
Click it. Fucker.